Well, good afternoon, everybody. Well, good afternoon for me. It's stupid o'clock, I think, in the morning for Stephen. I'm not sure about our guest today. We'll come on to him in a minute. We're thrilled to have Diesel with us today. I did something quite unusual this morning. I don't really Google the interviewees, the guests, simply because up until now we haven't had a chance. We know most of them, or we know a little bit more about them. But I was intrigued to know about this gentleman. I'm sure he's going to tell us a lot more about himself. I'm just going to mention a few things on the way through as a starter, and then we'll just find out how all of this happens. So this is Diesel Donlow, and I've got down actor, sportsman, personal trainer, entrepreneur. He's got a degree in marketing, and his friends call him Mr. Motivator. So that's my intro. Welcome to you, Diesel. Perhaps you tell us a little bit about how all of that happened.
Really, man, just stepping out on, doing what I do, just it all came after basketball. Most of the attributes and all the other stuff came after basketball was done. I think I had the inspiration thing in there. I just didn't know, where it was at the time. But when basketball ended for my career, I think most of it unfolded to what you just said, the trainer, motivator, actor. I do a little music, businessman, all that stuff came, after basketball was over for me.
But the interesting thing, though, if I may, you're working on your doctorate. So, don't sell yourself short here. It's not like you're like, I'm just hanging out doing after basketball. I just decided to do a little acting and music. You're like working on a doctorate. So that's a real degree.
Yeah. So like once basketball ended, we started with the master's degree for exercise science. So that's where that came in, which it taught me a lot about the body, the anatomy, how to train people, how to, know what I'm doing if I'm training people and all that stuff. So that was very important. Then I took a little break. And then like a year ago, I was like, let me get my doctorate. Let me finish it out.
Very nice. So how soon, then when are you done with your doctorate?
Probably spring 23, fall.
Very nice.
Or what is it now? Not spring 23, spring 2024.
Very, very nice. Well, that'll be very cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I was a bit concerned. Sorry, Stephen. I was a bit concerned when you said like that when the basketball stopped. That sounded like an abrupt full stop. Could you tell me a little bit more about how that happened, or why it happened?
Basketball was everything. You know what I mean? You know how we all probably played sports or did something for a long time, like when you're a child all the way to, college. I don't know if you guys did, or you might have did something that you did forever.
We're not that old. Yes, we did. There were basketballs and sports when back in the caveman days with the torch and the dinosaurs. Yes, we did things. So yes, we feel what you're saying. So,
it was hunting and spear lessons, I think, wasn't it, Steve? We were doing.
Well, you had to hunt for the food. So, but yes, we're good.
So you guys know what I'm talking about, when you just had a bad ending to something you love and you poured everything into. And I didn't really I didn't have the mindset like where I am now, where, I study like all this mindset stuff, metaphysicals, all this stuff. I had a little bit of it, but I didn't have like the total like package there yet, where I knew I could control it. I allow someone else to control when like the situation. So let me control, how I wanted to end. So it didn't end the way I wanted it to end. I wanted it to end that I played professionally, or I played at a high level or whatever that case may be. But I didn't do that. So I stopped playing really early. So I only played 2 years in college, actually a year and a half, and didn't end the way I wanted to end. Allowed, outside things to come in and, dictate, my future of basketball. So when that ended, that kind of like poured me into another. I had to figure it out. Like, okay, what is my real purpose, I guess, on this earth? And I knew I liked to inspire people. I knew I liked to be in the gym. Still wanted that athletic background still, because I had a lot of knowledge and, training and all that. So I was like, let me start training my friends. And so when I started training my friends, I got more insight. And when I got more insight, I was like, okay, I can take this on and create like a little brand. And then once I created my brand, I said, F it, I'm not working for nobody, and I was just like, I can't do it. I can't go back. After I knew, like, 2014, I knew I wanted to be like this brand that I am now. I didn't know what it would look like, but I knew that was going to be me. Not, when I say work with someone, I would love to work in partnership with brands and companies and create content and stuff like that. I'm talking about in terms of a 9-to-5. That wasn't in my MO.
So what's your brand? So you say you branded you.
Yeah.
So, see, we're doing this long enough with you now. I know what you're going to ask. So what's your, he always steals the thunder with like real questions. So what's your brand? And if you say your brand, will people then in the area you're at know it, or is it a local brand? What kind of brand?
It's global. Okay. Well, we have Diesel Donlow, which is the main brand.
Okay.
Which that incorporates, film. Me and Chad is talking about doing some stuff together. I'm not sure if he told you. We're working on doing some content together with filming.
Okay. And for the people that don't know who Chad is, that would be Telechubby. Because that's right. So it's Telechubby because people are like, Chad, what's a Chad? So yes, so Chad is Teletubby, who was interviewed a couple of days ago, which his interview's already up.
Yeah, great guy. Met him doing a film festival like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
Film festival. So that's one aspect that I really haven't dived into deep yet, but we're working on that. So that's part of it. We do, me, of course, like I'm an influencer, so that's part of the brand. I do collaborations in terms of me working with different brands and companies. We have our own clothing line. We have our sister company or brother company, Musetell Water. We have our alkaline artesian water, which is 7.7 natural pH, no added things to make it taste better, none of that, from a artesian well underneath the ground. So that's my baby right now, Musetell Water. And then we do like workshops. I'm going to start doing yoga classes, meditation, retreats. Just it's just a lot, but it's unfolding. So it's a lot.
I saw the clothing line. I was quite impressed by that. I love the artwork on that. Is that I'm going to shamelessly plug Noisy Panda now. Are we going to Noisy Panda going to have a chance to make some NFTs from your artwork? We'd love to do that.
I've never done NFT. If you know how to do it, let me know. I would love to do that.
He's the head of our global NFT department. This is the guy.
Oh, so you know how to do NFT?
We do NFTs.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. You're we got a lot of work to do. Yes.
Yes. Well, here we go. Just send them to me.
I'll hook you two up via WhatsApp when this is over, and you guys can have at it.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So you're like super busy. You got the clothing line going. You're doing the personal training stuff. I even found you on it was an international movie database. So you've been
Chicago PD, Empire, Canal Street, and a few other things. So
I was a big Empire fan. I must have missed you on that, but
he's like, I was the guy who did the thing, and so now tell us. So you go from basketball, you go get your bachelor's, work on your master's. At what point did you do? Because when we read about you, you're very busy. So what point did you decide you were going to go be, if you will, an actor? And then, and how did then you go from acting to now the entrepreneur that you are, the brand that you are, with the water, the clothing line, and everything?
So let's go back in timeline here.
Okay.
All right. And you know what? What part of New York are you from? I can hear the accent now.
Yeah, really? I'm from the city.
Manhattan or Brooklyn?
Yeah, no, the city. There's only one New York. I mean, Staten Island is not even, it's like Jersey. Yeah, so I'm from the city. I know. It's but it really, if you think about it, it's like you got the boroughs, you got Manhattan, you got Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, Staten Island. So it's like go to Jersey. So, but
I lived there last year. I lived there
Staten
for
Island?
6 months. No, Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn. Brooklyn's changed. When I was a kid, Brooklyn was not what Brooklyn is today. About 10, I want to say 20 years ago, people started to come in and gentrify it. So they would come in and they'd buy the dilapidated things and they'd start building up. And I think at some point they're trying in the Bronx. I know, like Manhattan, this is 15 years ago, a friend of mine said he was buying on Fifth Avenue a penthouse on, I think, 115th Street. And I'm like, dude, he goes, oh, no, it's all changed. And he was right. It was like, it's winter wonderland. So New York, from when I was a kid and lived there until I left, has literally is night and day. You know, it's like I was there when, you know, born in the 60s, the 1860s. No, I'm just kidding. So I was in there in the 60s, the 70s, and, you know, the 80s that you just saw it go from like worse to then when they came in and cleaned it up and put Disney in. And Disney made, you know, if you will, Times Square safe for everybody to go. Where before, when I was a kid, you'd walk down Times Square and there were hookers and drug pushers and three-card Monte and, you know, New York. And now New York's a whole different vibe. So, yeah, so I just left there a few years ago. So, but yeah, I still love it. But I'm Midtown. I was living in Midtown forever.
Okay, I know where that is. But I lived.
I'm going to be a party pooper, guys, because we've set Steve off on the New York promotional.
I won't do a New York thing again.
So we've had a few shows now where New York has been very prominent, but it's back to you, I think, Diesel. So
yes,
yeah, because if not, you know, I mean, I love Steve dearly, but you know, it's not about New York today. It's about you. So I'm going to pull you back. We're going to put you back on point on that one.
Well, no, I'm gonna mix it all together. Well, I lived there last year, so New York is part of the brand.
I'm lost now. I'm lost, guys. I'm out.
But let's go back, like you said, 2014. That was the year, like I told you, I started a personal training. 2015, I studied abroad in Santiago, Chile. When I was in Santiago, Chile, I was with my Professor John Bolus. And, you know, he took us out onto like all the places in Chile, like all the like city, you know, then culture and all that stuff. And I was graduating when we came back. So I was thinking like, okay, what's next? You know, what's like, okay, like it's here. You know how I guess reality was hidden. And I was training people already at a local gym back at home. But and I already created a first shirt. So I had one shirt. And then I was working on a second shirt, and I was in Chile working on a second shirt, and I was about to graduate, and I was just kept asking, wait, what's next? What's going to emerge, basically? And then I didn't like get no like big dream here, like, oh man, do this. Like I just started walking around like downtown Chile, looking at all the big buildings, and they were speaking in Espanol really fast at the time, and I didn't understand very much. Even though I studied, and you know how you study in school, but they don't really apply it. Like you got to apply it and actually be in a culture and immersed. But anyway, I started seeing like, you know, Avengers and all the Marvel films, like movies and all that stuff. I was like, okay, that'd be pretty cool to be an actor. I kind of like doing that. You know, I could see myself, you know, being on TV and all that stuff. And so that's when the acting, you know, idea came in. So this is like 2015, like around May 2015. So when I got back home, you know, I was determined to find a way to get on set. And then my first set I ever did was Banshee. I
remember Banshee. Yeah.
Remember that show?
Yep.
That was my first show.
It sounds like you just stepped into it, but you know, perhaps you'd explain to me anyway, and maybe to everybody else who's interested. How did that come about? You say, okay, I've got to get into movies.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, surely is that not a dream that a lot of people have anyway? How did that actually happen for you? Which door did you knock on? I mean,
I just looked up how to be an extra on Google and looked up how to do it. They said find someone that's doing a casting, find some way to get on a casting. And then I figured out what was the casting company's name in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I drove Youngstown where I live at in Youngstown to Pittsburgh is about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on where you're going in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's pretty large city, more than people give it credit for. But anyway, so I figured it out. I submitted my stuff and they were looking for college students or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm in college, you know. And I get on set and it was like people going here or there. I'm like, oh, whoa, what is going on? I didn't know what was going on here. So much like, you know, that's not my world I was in. So it was like coming to a new world, you know, where film is so fast. So a lot of stuff are moving. A lot of, you know, you have the stunt team, you got the acting team, you got the background artists, you have the production side, you have the camera people, you have all these different producers on set. So you learn like real quick, you know, who is who. So when I got on set, people kept giving me information. This Asian lady gave me some information how to get more jobs and more opportunities. And she's like, hey, I know you're going to be serious in this. let me add you to this Facebook group. And so once I got in that Facebook group and I start seeing commercials here, commercials there, I was like, Phew. I'm like, that's like, this is the life I wanted. You know, this is what I wanted. I wanted that, you know, the chance to inspire people through film and TV. So once I got that information, it led me to doing Outsiders. I don't know if you remember the show Outsiders.
Nope.
But yeah, it was what what's that guy from Remember the Titans? Tall guy, the one that passed away, got hit by a car in the film Remember the Titans.
I know. Okay, now I know. Okay,
I don't know.
I know
what
who you're talking about.
But the guy, he was involved in it too. So
Okay,
it was a good chance to work with him and see, and I started getting more exposure. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this to the next level here. Like, let me go figure this out, because you know it's unions and actor, you know, it's actors unions and all that. So they were like, you gotta get SAG. It's hard to get SAG in Pittsburgh. I said, no, it's not. You guys are, your mind is off. I'm gonna get it. I don't know how I'm gonna get this SAG whatever union job, but I'm gonna get it. Because everyone, you know how people just always throw the negative out. Oh, you can't do it. It's hard. Oh my God. Like, y'all can think it's hard, but for me, I'm gonna get it. So I was on like a determination to figure out how to do this. So I started traveling, finding other sets around other cities and figuring out how the SAG stuff work and what is this stuff. So I started researching it, and then like going from that year, I kept getting on set, keep getting on smaller sets. Then I started going to Baltimore, got a speaking role there. And then my first union show, and it's funny that I denied it a few times. No, my first union voucher was, you know, Samantha Bee, Full Frontal.
Yes, love Samantha Bee.
Yeah, I was on her show because they're filming something about Donald Trump when he was doing Republican whatever in 2016 with they came to Cleveland for that convention, for the Republican convention. It was a big deal. So she came and filmed. They said they needed some, you know, extras, and they gave me my first SAG, you know, extra voucher. So after I left there, prior to that, I was on, you know, that movie Surviving Compton.
Yes.
I was on Surviving Compton, where I had a prominent, you know, role. I was still an extra though. So I was like, but I was featured though. I was like always with the main guys, and, you know, and one of the main guys said, you need to do stunts. Like, this will help you get, you know, to that door. So you have people on set that give you information and help you like on the way if you're receptive, you know. So once I'm getting all this information from him, I get this job in Chicago. It was for Hilton Hotel. I had a commercial for them. And I was like, man, I would love to live in Chicago. Meanwhile, I didn't know my youth pastor moved back, but I think my mom told me that he moved back to Chicago. My youth pastor from growing up from church, he's from Chicago. So she was like, you need to reach out to Pastor Kareem to see if you can stay over his house. So I was like, cool. So when Pastor Kareem said I could stay over there, I was like, all right, Pastor Kareem, I'll be back. In Chicago, they filmed Empire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire. All these films and all these movies came to Chicago to film all the time. And I knew that. So once I figured out how to get to Chicago and like what sets were there, I knew I had a place to stay. So I was coming back. And once like I knew like I had a place to stay, cool, I'm starting submitting. So I started submitting, and then I submitted for Empire, but I submitted to Empire maybe a month before this. So this is July 2016. I submitted for Empire before that, like June, July, a little bit. I was submitting, and I canceled it once or twice because I couldn't commit, you know, at the time. Like I had another job or something. So they finally reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to be Lucius bodyguard? You know, one of the main bodyguards for Terrence Howard, that's the actor. His main like background, you know, his guy. So all right, bet. And they called me. They was like, well, you need to get here at 5 a.m. This is the night before. I was like, all right, I'm in Youngstown. So Youngstown to Chicago is about 6-hour drive. So I got my stuff. I picked up my friends. I said, we going. And then so I worked there for like 4 days, 3 or 4 days. I think it was 3 days. And they were like, they told me on the last day, like, hey, we want you here for the whole season. You got a prominent, you know, feature role. We need you here for the whole season. So they like, it ended up turning from a 3-day job to a whole season job.
Nice.
And I was like, well, where am I going to stay? Pastor Kareem said, you can stay here. So I stayed at past
And
screens
are you learning this acting on the fly? I mean,
on the
because
fly.
yeah, so you didn't do it at school. You weren't in amateur dramatics, maybe just like the Christmas things or so.
I
Nothing.
did one.
Completely,
I did one
completely
class.
cold.
I did one class, but it wasn't like this serious. It was just like a little intro to theater, like, but it wasn't like, well, it gave me like a little background how to write, you know, a little bit, but
Yeah.
that wasn't my main. At the time, I was focused on basketball, so my main focus wasn't film yet, you know, like, so I wasn't really like, I was just doing it
So,
for
so
credit.
this decision that you had in Chile, that you know, that like, I think that must be a really cool thing to do, to be an actor. It's a mindset thing for you. You put your mind to it. Hey, you know, that's what I want to do. You go and do it, and then when you get that break, you're just you know, learning on the fly,
Learned on the fly.
networking with people, learning on the fly, listening, sucking in all that information, and
Learned
you
on
know,
the
and
fly.
yeah, well, that is truly impressive.
But you know, meanwhile, like during this whole time, I went to New York. I think, right? I did a couple of stuff in New York where I had a speaking show, like a speaking opportunity in what film was it? 6 Degrees Murder. It was on Discovery ID, like the crime shows.
Right.
I had a couple of jobs out there, like in Brooklyn, or not Brooklyn. It was near Queens at an army. They have a big army base somewhere in Queens. I don't know where it is, somewhere in that area though.
Okay.
But we did a film out there a couple months prior. But once I got to Chicago, that's what really like, okay, I was on set every day. Like I was on med, APD, I was doing stand-in. I was like, okay, like I'm starting to get like my iron is getting sharp in here, you know? So I was figuring out commercials, doing all this stuff. Like, and once you're in Chicago, it's a big market compared to Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh is big, but it's not like, it don't have all the jobs all the time. So like a big city market has all the jobs. So you want to like, and it was easy that I was living in Chicago too. So I didn't have to drive back and forth. I didn't have to pay for hotels and all that stuff. Like it just made it a little easier when you don't have to worry about that other stuff. So, but once I got on Empire, I kept seeing like all these guys like coming on set, like Snoop Dogg, French Montana. A lot of famous people came on to these sets, and I was like, okay, I'm there. But now how do I get to this next thing? Like, how do I get this SAG voucher?
Right.
And then I kept seeing them do stunts all the time on set. Like, okay, I see what they're doing. I can do this. It's not hard. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it is some dangerous stunts. I'm not saying that, but the stunts they were doing in front of me weren't as hard as I thought it would be, you know, like not jumping off buildings, none of that. So I kept asking this stunt coordinator, his name is Eddie Fernandez.
Right.
Eddie, I'm ready, dog. Just like this shirt. I said, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. I need my chance, man. I kept hounding him like for this is like 2 months, hounding him like, hey, man, I'm ready. You know, I kept knocking on that door.
Right.
Ready. Like, you got to do this type of stuff. I'm just giving people information how to do this. You got to let them know, or they're going to just keep you thinking you just want to be background. You got to let them know you're serious, you know? So he's like, he called me one day. He's like, all right, send me your stuff. So I sent him my stuff, and he was like, all right, go audition for this role for this stunt job. It's just an actor stunt job. It was 2 jobs at once.
Right.
I didn't get that one, but he was like, okay, I'm gonna put you in with our stunt team. So I ended up getting my first, that's how I got my first principal stunt role on Empire.
And is that when you got your SAG card then? Because I know SAG card is a big thing.
It's a big thing. I didn't get, I mean, I was eligible then, so I could have got it, but you don't have to, it's not a, it's you get 3 vouchers. On the third voucher, you have to do a must join.
Okay.
So when you on a must join, I didn't get it until I worked on Chicago PD.
Okay.
So when I started doing stunts for Chicago PD, I had to pay for it. Yeah, I had to pay for that, you know, that must join union fee. And that's how I got the must join.
Oh, very cool. And then so now we did the actor. We've been on stuff. We've been a stunt person. We've been an actor. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and go, you know, I think I should have a clothing line and start a water company.
Well, the clothing was already going on when I was like, when I started as a trainer. So I just kept it going. Like I was on set, I was giving away my clothes, like, because you want to give, it's more of a promotion advertising type thing. Like when you're in a game like I am, you gotta advertise it so much. You gotta market yourself so much that like people know who you are. So that was my other way of trying to be different than when at the time when I was a background actor. I had to like separate myself from, you know, other people. Like, okay, I got a brand, I do this. Like, so I already had the brand going this whole time. It was just like, but now I'm
so would that be then if you were training me, then that I'd have all your clothing line to go with that as well?
You had it. Oh yeah, everyone had it. I gave it away. I never made money from it, man. I'm just
well, I mean, it's a marketing tool, is it not? So the people were wearing this stuff and they were saying, I like that, you know, who made that? And of course, then your name drops.
Oh yeah, they were buying it too. Some people bought it, you know, like I made some money. I'm not saying, but at the time though, I was just thinking like, I have 3 principles I live on: marketing, networking, collaboration. That's my 3 pillars in my business model. That's my whole MO, is those 3 different things. So when you're a marketer like me, you got to find ways to network. When you network, you got to find a way to collaboration. Now, my second pillars are awareness, partnership, and I forget the other word I came up with in my notes, but it's levels that I'm building in pillars now that you can form to do your business model. And I am writing a couple books on that right now where I'm gonna explain how to do all this stuff. So, but those 3 principles you got to have, because if you don't market, network, collab, you're not going to get no exposure. None. You got to do at least one of the 3.
Right.
At least
that's
one
very true.
Yeah.
And partnerships are huge, because my background is all like finance and such. So that's all we do are strategic and global partnerships on a daily basis, because that's how you make money. And that's how you find things or transactions or money or people or deal. So yeah, it's all we're old school guys. So ours is different. Ours is you kick in the door and you press the flesh. And it's the same thing, you know, marketing to us that's like, you got to press the flesh, got to say hello to people, got to meet people. But in today's society, because look, we're having a dialogue where we all get to see each other. Back in the day, this was an event. Like we had to either be in the same room, have a film crew, or whatever. Right now we get on Zoom, push a button, we're all talking. So it makes it a little easier, but you're right. You have to be out there. That's what we were talking in the beginning. Like our marketing department's like, no, we'll do interviews. 6 months later, who do we have? The 2 old white guys are doing the interviews with all these young hip kids, if you will, that are under 30. And they're all like, dude, I'm like, we're doing it. And we're doing well, you know? So, but my point is you got to kick in the door. You always have to go forward. So I agree with your principles and your ethos right off the bat. That's excellent.
And you know, it's funny. I learned a lot from, I'm going to let you go in a second.
You're good.
I'm going to let him go in a second. I'm just going to make sure I say this for you. I learned a lot from people like you though. Like I study like Google Scholar all the time. Right. And once I started studying for my PhD, now I'm really, or my doctorate, now I'm really like on Google Scholar every day, looking up old scholar articles about marketing. And I'm like, wow, I'm just taking the principles that the old school people are using. Now I'm just like, you know, twist a little bit, but, and now like you said, NFTs, now you brought that to me. Now that's a big collaboration because no one in my world is doing that.
Right.
Yeah. No one in my world is doing that.
I was once, a dear old lady said to me once, it's the same dinner, but different gravy.
Yep.
Right. So all this marketing stuff that you've been doing before, there's all these books, it's just as valid for the marketplace that we're trying to move in now. It's just everybody makes it into abracadabra. They give it all different words or whatever. But like I say, same dinner, different gravy. Yeah. And that kind of stuck with me all through my business life, because people say, yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that. I think, well, yeah, but isn't that what we did 5-10 years ago? Right. But it was just called something different.
Yes.
But
no, it's very true.
It sounds like wisdom, but I always say to people, it's not wisdom. It's just the fact that when you're an old white guy,
or there's an old guy in general.
Yeah, or an old guy in general. As I said, the nurse will be here soon. She always comes when I'm doing this show. It's not so much wisdom. It's just the fact that there's a lot of water that's gone under that proverbial bridge. And so it gives you an opportunity to literally to reflect upon this continuous flow of information that you've had. And the older you get, the easier it is to look at it and to evaluate it. And just stay open. I wholeheartedly agree. It's people make the world go round, not technology.
And the other thing, which which I read in your bio, you talked about your mentor, which was the pastor. And that's the other thing, is always have good mentors, whether it's whether it's business, whether it's personal, but always have good. It's one of the things that when I started 100 years ago, we had a guy that says, we're going to mentor you. You have to pay it forward. So like you just mentor people throughout your life, and that gets them to go from A to Z. That's the most important thing, because it's paying it forward. And that's a big thing too, as you get more successful, because people are going to be like, how did you do it? How did you do this? And how did you do that? So it's, you know, like the old, like, get away from me, little kid. To me, like W.C. Fields, right? To me, it's more of like, all right, this is what you do. Like, I'll tell you what to go do, how to kick in a door. You have to do it. I can't kick in the door for you. And it's kind of like what you did. You kind of said, I need to go do this, and you did it. So a lot of people just don't know what to do, but you were like, you did like the whole A through Z, which is very cool. So, and now you're growing your business.
I think the exciting thing about that, Steve, is that what Diesel said, something quite, you know, fundamental. I went and knocked on that door.
Yep.
You know, and that's just what people just don't think about that. Well, how do I get somebody? You literally go and knock on that door. Yeah. And then you said about the stunt guy. Yeah. He probably thought, oh my God, like, I'll give him something that he's not going to be like a monkey on my back for the next 5 or 10 years. You know, come on, give him something. You know, and,
I had to,
yeah.
Had to.
Yeah.
But that's cool, because most people don't. And that's like in my world, that's what you're constantly, and being from New York, especially, I'm not going to go on a tangent, David, relax. But being, it's constantly like knocking on, you know, I get a kick in the door. You got to go forward. I always tell people, listen, you go forward. You don't go under, you don't go underneath, you don't go left, you don't go right. You just go forward. You kick in that door. And if you make a mistake, we can fix it. We can correct it. We can mentor you. But if you just sit there, you can't do anything, right? You can't move forward. So you got to always do that. So you're like, that's very inspirational. I like that, because you don't hear that from a lot of people. Like the guys at Noisy Panda hear this crap from me all the time. Like, this is like my Bible. I preach it. But, you know, and then we've everyone's a 14-year-old, right? Whether you're 14 or 114. So you have the 14-year-olds are like, oh, it's too hard. No, it's not. Go do it. What do you think? Someone's just going to come in and go, you're wonderful. And that's the other problem, right? Everybody's mother told them that when they came in 300th, they were special. When we played Little League, when I was a kid in the 60s, yes, the 1760s, we had baseball. But when we played Little League baseball, if we didn't come in first place, we didn't get pizza. We didn't get, we didn't get a trophy. Your parents were like, well, you didn't win. You'll try harder for next year. Okay. That was done. Like, there was no, it's first or nothing. And today's society is, we don't want to hurt anybody's feeling. I hurt everybody's feelings. I could care less. You have to move forward. And I think that's a big thing. So you're probably more diplomatic at it, but I think your philosophy seems to be the same thing, is you got to go forward. You can't rest on your laurels, or you'll have absolutely nothing if you rest on your laurels.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is the same for me. I come from a culture where we're always told it's the participation which is important, and not the winning. Yeah, that's just fundamentally wrong, because you know, you don't win. If I'm not the guy out there with the spear, the first one getting to that piece of meat that I've hunted, I go hungry.
Yep.
And you know, and that's the same in life as well. You know, you've sometimes you have to sharpen your elbows and get out there. I'm not saying you have to be rude or, you know, or destroy people on the way through, because I'm a bit too much of an old hippie to think that that's a good way forward. But yeah, I think, you know, you just be respectful, but be forceful, and contemplate on what you're good at, and think, okay, this is what I'm good at doing, and I'm going to do that, and you know, other people will help me fill in the holes in my skill set. But you know, I mean, we're an actor, we're a sportsman. You got your clothing line. You
so what's next for you?
Yeah, you talked a little bit about the water. I know that I mean, in Europe, we turn the tap on and we can drink it, and that's not,
yeah, we can't. Not in America. In America,
yeah, I was going to say, but that's not the case, is it? In a lot of cases, a lot of places in the US, the water is just fouled. So, can you tell us a little bit about why you seem to be quite passionate about that as well? Rightly, how did that all come about?
So that came about around 2018. One of my buddies asked me, like, what do you want to do next, or something like that. Should try something else. So all right. And then, why don't you try water? Okay, let me think about it. Okay, so I looked up, you know, how to do this stuff. Once again, Google's my friend.
This is a good ad for Google. So
went on Google, and it was a local company around here, and it was too old school. There's the philosophy wasn't going to match where I am. But in terms of like getting me started and let me work with this company, see what it's about. Right. So the bottles wasn't looking good. It was just bad. The water didn't taste good. And if people don't think the water tastes good, it's not going to work with my clientele at the time and my portfolios. It got to be the best that we can do. So I took a break from it. The pandemic happened. This is around like June, July. I started like, okay, it's time. Let's get back into it. So doing some more research and just, you know how things just align. Someone referred someone to me, or Ray referred them to me. We got on the phone, started talking, and I was like, let's do it. But I didn't, you got to have a certain type of, I didn't have the logos at the time. So I was like, let's try this one. Let's just give it a trial. So I made my first order January 2021. And never looked back since.
Very cool. So now so what's next though? So we've got the clothing line, the water, the motivation. So like, what's the next
thing?
What's your next project that you're going to do, or just grow the empire that you have right now for a little bit?
Well, that's one of them.
Right.
Number two is, well, during this whole time, I went through a spiritual growth as well, though. So that's where the yoga came in, the meditation, the affirmative prayer, life visioning, stuff like that, getting in tune to what is really, me. So probably creating books. Like I said, I want to finish writing these books and put it out there, but I just don't want to like slap my name on something and just make, and then just throw it out. If I make something, it got to be crafted. It got to be crafted in a way where it's delivered, right. So I want to make and create content that change lives, that inspire people, that's health conscious, eco-friendly. I'm vegan, so, or I would say flexitarian, but mostly vegan, plant-based.
Dave and I are cakeitarians, so just so you know. So
it's
we're big.
Hey, look, you gotta do what you got. Hey, I just tell people
kidding.
how I live. No, I'm just, I just share what, what helped me,
Right.
When you eat like high nutritional food, your body temple is able to perform at a higher level,
right.
And you want to be able to drink high alkalinity water. So you have that bright water coming into your system to give you the, energy you need to do NFTs, to podcasts and stuff like that. Then the proper exercising can allow you to make sure your body is ready to go, ready and be able to maintain your health, so you want to exercise daily if you can, whether it's just walking, yoga, stretching, or push-ups, sit-up, whatever you do, whatever you find, in your regimen. So right now I'm just trying to create content that reflects my lifestyle, teaching people how to do this stuff and how to journal and how to study, how to structure, your business and stuff like this. I have so many ideas. Just gotta, I guess, get to it. Going on tour, creating music, doing films.
Well, you gave us a link, if I'm not mistaken, to Spotify. So so we're gonna when on this airs, we'll put all your bio there, so people that are listening now can that's music or this, whatever link you've sent, they can look at the clothing, everything. So they'll be able to look at everything you're doing, and hopefully it'll bring more people to you that aren't aware of you. And the people that are aware of you now get a better insight of who you are, which will hopefully make them want to do more things with you.
Right. And I wanted to go back 1 second though, too.
Sure.
Because you asked me what's next, because I want to answer that very specific here.
Sure.
So it's very important that we create I'm thinking about, I don't want to say it because it's not done yet.
Okay.
But it has something to do with smells. And and you want to create that type of smell environment where it brings out things and help with the body temple. So I'm working on something with smells. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And we're in the
Well, I'll tell you what, as you come out with different projects, whether it's your books, your smells, we'll think of a better term than smells. Aroma. Let's go with aroma. But as you
Fragrances.
fragrances, aroma,
That's
whatever
better.
it might be, whatever
Weed
it might
fragrance.
be, or whatever you do, you are more than welcome to hit us up, and we will be more than happy to do another show on whatever your next thing is. Or if something really cool happened and you were like, dude, I got to tell you this, it's a good hour story. You come on, you'll tell, and it's inspirational. So the people that see this, they're like, I want to be an actor, or I want to start a business, or I want to do this or that. They can now see how you progress, even though you're, you're not at A anymore. You're like towards the end of the alphabet and growing, but they can at least see that. And then they go on this journey with you, which is pretty cool. So that may help them out. And if it helps one person out, then you've done what you wanted to do, which is inspire.
Yep. Yeah. Change lives.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly what it's about.
We're rolling to the end of this absolutely fascinating interview we had with you today, Diesel. And I agree with Steve. Come back, please, because I've got so many more questions I want to ask, and I'm sure you got so many more stories. But just that maybe, have you got something really motivational to say to everybody just before we close today, as your parting salvo to the world?
Be legendary.
I like that. That's very cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time today, gentlemen.